bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Fiend Podcast with your hosts, Zay, Young Vander, and Bro Joe.
Hello and welcome back to the best fantasy football podcast on the air, the Fantasy Football Fiend Podcast, presented to you by Manscaped. I'm your host, Zay, the Fantasy Football Fiend himself. And as always, I got my guys with me. Holla at the people, Young Vander.
Fantasy Fiends, what's going on out there?
And the rookie aficionado, Bro Joe. Holla at him, bro.
What's going on, Fantasy Fiend family?
It is week 4, and it is time to make sure that you're in prime position to make it on through for the rest of the year. We're going to make sure that you get all the information necessary for that to happen. Make sure that you subscribe to us if you have not yet for the YouTube channel at Fantasy Football Fiend. Also, make sure you check out the Facebook group, the Fantasy Football Fiend Family Facebook group. We do give out a lot of information there. We answer a lot of your start-sit questions. A lot of the, ad drop questions, things of that nature that we might not be able to get to on the show. We can definitely get that information out to you personally based on your situation. So make sure you check us out there. We have a packed show today, your news and notes, rapid fire 10, and your matchups. And we are going to hop right into it with your news.
And now your fantasy news.
All right, so Joe Burrow, full participant in walkthroughs today, so it looks like he's going to give it a go again this week. But what I saw on the field last week tells me that they're playing with fire. Normally, when you have like a calf or whatever type of a low extremity injury, and you try to, I would say, overcompensate, you end up with another injury or exacerbating that injury. Do we think that can happen to Joe, or is this as bad as it gets and he should get a little bit better week by week, or should we just think we're going to see exactly what we saw last week for the next several weeks? What you got on that, Van?
I mean, of course it's possible, right? I mean, we've seen Kevin Durant, it's a different sport, but we've seen someone that had a calf injury, went out there and then tore his Achilles. A lot of people don't understand the
same sport. We just saw that with Aaron Rodgers. Remember, he had a calf injury in the offseason, and then first game he ruptured his Achilles.
So a lot of people don't understand the connection between the two. But we see that they're doing a lot of 2-3 step drop, get the ball out. They're not going to let him do the 5 and 7 and sit in the pocket type thing. That ball's coming out quick. That's why he was able to see Jamal Jefferson have so many targets, so many catches, and catch the ball and kind of run at the catch this past Sunday. So I think it's going to be a lot of that, just like quick passes. Don't give him opportunity to really stand around in the pocket and, get that pass rush on him.
It looks like Anthony Richardson is going to be good to go. He was listed as a full practice participant on today, so it looks like he's over the concussion protocol. So fire him up as you would, if he's your starter, start him. Derek Carr, not ready to practice yet, dealing with that shoulder injury, and I'm not sure if he's going to be ready within the next couple of weeks. They said that they wouldn't rule out this week, but that sounds like a little bit of gamesmanship. And if you're looking at a 2 QB Superflex league, how confident are you in the services of one Mr. Jameis Winston, Joe?
I actually like it. I mean, I think you get a softer matchup to start this week with Tampa Bay. I mean, that's an easy. I can't say it's easy. Nothing easy in a divisional matchup. That's when they always play gritty, but it's a favorable matchup. Let's say that. And then I just feel like he's already acclimated to this team, already playing for him last year. So I think I like Jameis Winston for at least the next week. I don't know about the week after, but this weekend coming, definitely.
Jimmy Garoppolo remains in concussion protocol. This isn't the type of injury that I expected Jimmy G to get. There's still more time to go for him to get something else. But if you're in, again, a 2-quarterback Superflex league and you're kind of tight at quarterback, are we stashing his backups, Vander?
I wouldn't stash him. If it's just a quick start, like a desperate start, I guess you can grab Brian Hoyer because he's the second guy up right now. But I wouldn't say it's a stash. I mean, it's a concussion, right? So even if he does miss a game, it probably needs to be 1 week. So I wouldn't be whole stash. It's more like a streaming play.
Gotcha. Bryce Young is trending towards playing this week. I know last week they were saying that it might end up being a 2-week ankle injury, but he's trending towards playing. So if he's your guy, make a trade. But he should be playing this week. Moving on over to running backs, James Conner's tending to a back injury, another guy that's no stranger to injury. It's looking like he is going to play, but it was a limited capacity practice this week. Austin Eckler, who hasn't played since week 1, he got into a limited practice today, so he's again trending towards suiting up. They may give him another week just to make sure everything's right. But Joshua Kelly didn't do a whole lot over the last few weeks to put Eckler in any danger of losing touches or anything of that nature. So question 1, do we believe in Eckler if he comes back this week, or if he comes back next week? Do we believe in him week 1 coming off of the injury? And then the second part to that is, what are we going to do with Kelly when Eckler does return? What you got on that one?
I mean, absolutely, we believe in Eckler. I mean, if he's out there, you fire him up RB1. As far as Kelly, he's no more than just a handcuff. You kind of see what he's going to offer with Eckler being out. Not a lot, but in a lot of deeper leagues, you don't have much to play, right? So just hold him as a handcuff, and just look at Eckler as 100%. If he's out there, he's healthy. You know what I mean? So just fire him up, as usual.
Jerome Ford dealing with a shoulder injury. He was limited in practice. And also the Browns picked up Deion Jackson, who was with the Colts. The Colts dropped him and Cleveland picked him up. So now they have Hunt and they also have Jackson backing up Ford. I'm not sure if that was just an insurance policy, if they kind of knew that the shoulder was kind of hampering Ford. Is this one of those, hey, this is what happens when you're the guy? So now that you aren't being used sparingly and you're kind of in there all the time, you're going to get nicked up? Or was this just happenstance, Joe?
This was just happenstance, really. I don't really read too much into the shoulder injury. I know Kareem Hunt was also banged up, but he's still good to go. We even seen it with Gaskins, right? Gaskins went back to the practice squad, not jumping ahead from being on the regular roster for the Vikings, for example. You just got to have these running backs. We're seeing these injuries coming at a rapid rate this year. I think it's just, just making sure that he okay, more than anything.
Aaron Jones is questionable for this Thursday's game. If he does go, do you give him a week, or do you go ahead and you put him out there if he's on your squad, Vander?
You got to play him. You drafted him in a pretty good, you spent a good bit of money on this guy. So if he's out there, you got to play him. You got to look at him like he's healthy. And Aaron Jones is no stranger to this type of injury. So I don't think he'll be out there unless he's, up the part. Who else you gonna play? AJ Dillon hasn't looked worth anything as the starter himself. So you got to go Aaron Jones.
That's another guy that we had high hopes for when drafted, and anytime he's been given opportunity, he just basically gave it right back to AJ. So, do you feel the same way that Vander feels about Jones, about David Montgomery, Joe?
Yeah, I think, and also I think what we're seeing now is just being extra precautious. Looking at even at last year, you lost a lot of people, and I think it's more so the conservative approach. This is a long season. This is only the first quarter of the season, barely there. We even played the fourth game, but I just think all these teams is being. If you ready to go, you ready to play. And I think that's even at Aaron Jones. Like he was looking like he could have played even as soon as last week, but again, precaution. Same thing with Montgomery. I think he could have been good to go. A game time decision last week, but he just sat out for an additional week. It's just these injuries, man. It's no joke for the running back position or any position for that matter.
So in your opinion, they've actually already got their extra week. They aren't coming in fresh off. That they could have gone last week, but they were given a little bit more time already.
Not saying that per se, but you gotta look at what both of those players mean for the team. Look at Detroit without them. I'm not saying Jameer did great last game, but the game before, you definitely could have seen that they needed somebody like a Montgomery. Same thing with Aaron Jones, 86 yards receiving. Then the next game is the last two games been fairly competitive. One needing to go into overtime against New Orleans. What a difference it makes when you have Aaron Jones. If they're good to go, these teams need them, especially in those that same division. both of those teams are looking really good right now. You want to make sure you win those home games whenever you can early on in the season.
Let's start out the wide receiver segment with the Rams. Puka Nacua is dealing with an oblique injury, limited practice on Wednesday, same injury that he was dealing with on last week, but it looks like he's going to be able to go. Sean McVay is saying that Cooper Kupp should be good to go after this week. He has the IR, so he's out for 4 weeks minimum. Do you trust Kupp, or is this going to be Puka's season? What you got on that, man?
Yeah, you trust Kupp. I mean,
let me rephrase that. Do you feel like he's going to actually stay healthy? Is what I'm asking. Not whether or not he can play if he's out there. Obviously, if he's out there, he can play. But do you think he's going to actually stay out there? I guess.
I don't know, man. These lower extremity. He didn't have your typical hamstring injury. I mean,
right.
he missed a lot of time, even before the season started.
And he had to go talk to 3 doctors to get different opinions on it. So that kind of scares me. Like that seems like a more extreme hamstring type of injury than the norm.
As long as he's on the field, I mean, Matthew Stafford, he's the only guy he looks at. I mean, this guy be approaching 20 targets.
But okay, but now will that stay the same now that he's become comfortable with Nacua?
Yeah, because Nacua is really in that Robert Woods role right now. He's not really playing Kupp's role. A lot of people see the targets and they think he's in Kupp's spot, but he's actually in Robert Woods' spot. So I don't think it'd be a difference. I think Nacua can still get his love as well when Cooper Kupp returns. I mean, Cooper just going to be the king. But, I mean, I think Puka can definitely still be fantasy relevant for sure.
Let me ask you this, and this just came to me. What's the difference between Nacua and Allen Robinson? What happened to Allen? I mean, like, you would think if a rookie can come in and get this kind of love, that Robinson should have been able to get something when he was there. And now he's moved on to Pittsburgh. He's dealing with the injury there, but he didn't get very much going in Pittsburgh either. Like, what the heck happened to Allen Robinson?
Scheme. I mean, in my opinion, think about it. McVay drafted Puka.
Right.
Allen Robinson was a guy. So it's different when you draft your guy versus you bringing in a guy that you think could fit what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
That makes sense. But the rookie, you know what I'm saying, it's different. It's like the person that makes an album or do something when they don't have money versus when they are. Allen Robinson kind of more of an established receiver. So he probably is in his own way. Where Puka is just he's a rookie. It's an opportunity. So he's able to
whatever you want, coach. Like that, yeah.
He actually may have a higher IQ. To be honest with you, I think Allen Robinson is probably, of course, the more skilled guy, probably the more athletic guy. But I mean, the
route running is on point.
I mean, IQ, sitting down in zones, different things like those things are key. So it could be one of those things.
Yeah, just to add to both really quick, I think with the Kupp situation, it's almost if you look at Burrow, where, for example, Chase said to Burrow, like, maybe you should sit longer, as opposed to Kupp, they're giving him this additional time. So he's able to come back sooner. I think it's more so that he's literally good to go. He's had the additional weeks from preseason to make that assessment, as opposed to where we see things with Burrow being to that extremity. And then going to Nacua, Allen Robinson obviously had the foot injury going into the season. He played through it for as long as he could before he had to sit out in IR. But also, too, Stafford is getting his ball out real quick. This is an up-tempo offense, a lot different. I think, McVay actually look at it like, we ain't got no cap, we ain't got no draft picks. I need to make this thing move. And they've been quicker, they've been up-tempo. Look how they even trying out Kyron Williams in that experiment. He's getting 100% of the shares on the backfield. They just trying to make something shake, man. But you definitely love Nacua and his skill set for real.
Last 2 wide receivers up. Treylon Burks is limited with a knee, and it is currently wrapped up. So there's something brewing there. Don't exactly know how significant it is, but there was a pretty nice wrap that he had on his leg during practice that if he's going out there on Sunday, anything close to that, he's not going to be anywhere close to 100%. And Christian Watson, who would have the Thursday evening game, has been dealing with the hamstring as well. He's going to try to give it a go, but again, those hamstrings can be kind of iffy. He's probably one of those guys that, because he isn't quite as seasoned as a Kupp, I wouldn't necessarily just put him out there week one of him showing up, because it may just be trying to see whether or not he can make it through the game and not a whole lot of targets going his way. Do you feel the same way, Vander? Or if he's out there, he's out there?
No, I like Watson actually.
Okay.
He's a stud, you know what I'm saying? And I think him and Love, they may have a rapport. You never know. I mean, if he's healthy, I'm playing him. You know what I mean? So.
But how do you know if he's healthy before you put him in there, especially
He's
on a Thursday night? Because you're not going to see him.
He's on the field. I mean,
theoretically, that should mean he's healthy. But I mean, Burrow's on the field.
If you if you out there, you healthy. That's just how the game goes. Nobody want to hear about you sore. None of that. If you out there, you ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think also.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the confidence for me was when he was asked by the media would he play tomorrow. He said, "Yeah, that's the plan." I think also too, when you kind of look at it, it go either way. I think he's ready to come back, but if you got 10 days after tomorrow to kind of be sure for sure, that's a big indicator for me. If you can play tomorrow, for most definitely. So if he suit up, like Dwayne said, he got to be 100% because they got 10 days right after this if they needed to rest him further.
You got Tyler Higbee, who's dealing with an Achilles injury. He did miss practice on Wednesday's walkthrough, so that's something to kind of look out for if you had Tyler Higbee on your radar. Gerald Everett missed practice dealing with the injury, illness, not an injury, so he should be good to go. Irv Smith was able to get in a limited practice on Wednesday. He's coming back from a hamstring injury, and that pretty much wraps it up for the news. Let's go ahead and get into Rapid Fire 10.
Here we go. It's Rapid Fire 10. Rapid Fire 10 is 10 quick questions. We need 10 quick answers. People want to know, who do I start? Let's get right into it. We got Jameis Winston or Desmond Riddler.
Give me Jameis.
I think Jameis will throw the ball a little bit more. Atlanta's been running the rock quite a bit. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go Jameis too.
Another quarterback question. Man, this is – we got Zach Wilson or Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill.
Tannehill, yeah, I'm going to go with Tannehill.
Whatever question you put out there with Zach Wilson in it, I'm going with the other dude.
We got Jerome Ford or Brian Robinson Jr.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to go with Robinson Jr.
I'm going to go with Ford.
Okay. We got Devon Achane, and that's the right pronunciation according to him.
Achane?
Chan.
Okay. Because they've been calling him Achane.
Yeah, so it's Achane or Alvin Kamara.
I'm gonna go with Kamara. I'm under the assumption he'll get his regular workload.
I'm thinking the same thing because Williams is still out, and until Mostert gets hurt, that'll still be a committee there. They are going up against Buffalo, and they can't do every week. They can't go against the Broncos every week. So I think I'm gonna run with Kamara.
All right, we got Ezekiel Elliott or Roschon Johnson.
Damn, this is another close one. I'm gonna go with Roschon. I think he's like becoming the 1A steadily in this offense.
And Ezekiel Elliott, by the way, is playing against the Cowboys. So
I'm gonna go with Zeke. I think they're gonna get that boy a touchdown this week.
Yeah, I believe it. So I believe the same thing. And also, we didn't mention that Jameis is playing against the Bucs. So maybe that's
facts. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's an incentive as well. And speaking of another incentive, we got Adam Thielen or Tank Dell. And Adam Thielen as well is playing against his old team.
I'm gonna go with Thielen. Only because it's just within Nico, and then also having what's my other guy that's there? Pretty much
Woods,
with the
Robert
weapons
Woods.
there. Robert Woods, there we go. I'm not saying it could be a regression game, but Thielen been balling these last 2 weeks. It ain't matter. He had Bryce one game, and then he had Dalton, and he still was the guy in targets and receptions. Oh, and he had a touchdown both games.
I
What you
think
got?
I'm gonna go with Thielen as well because Minnesota's defense has been trash lately. So yeah, give me Thielen until he gets hurt.
Okay. We got Joshua Palmer or Quentin Johnson.
Palmer. Johnston, I think, will take over eventually, but I don't think he's quite ready yet. I'm going with the guy that's been getting the most targets before Mike Williams went out.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got to look at Quentin more so further in the season. Joshua gonna come right into that Mike Williams role ASAP.
And this is another one. This one is Garrett Wilson or Tank Dell.
It's not an indictment on Wilson's talent,
Right. You
but
need to say
Zach
that.
Wilson is horrible. So I'm gonna have to go with Tank.
That's bad.
It's bad
sad
for
to say
him.
it, but they should Zach should know how dire it is to get this guy the ball. He still can't find a way to get this man the ball. I'm gonna go with Tank too, like you said, for those reasons.
Okay, on this one we got Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts or Dalton Kincaid.
You go first,
Don't
Joe.
know yeah, I feel like you just don't know what you get with Pitts, and I think I'm gonna just go with Kincaid. I just like it's a soft floor. I already know he gonna get 5 targets, 3 receptions. It's what he do with it, right? One of them go for a touchdown, or you get end up with like 36 yards. You know, with Pitts, he might regress and don't do nothing no more. I don't know.
I guess I'm gonna have to go with Pitts. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Pitts. He's the better talent. He's had a couple, a little bit more time in the league. I don't know. Atlanta needs to trade Pitts to Dallas or somewhere.
But I don't know if you saw that post route. Not to cut you off, but he looked like he wasn't fully there yet when he did that move, man. I was like, man, he slowed down a little bit. If he was full stride, he would have caught that. And that could have been easily a touchdown.
He not used to the ball coming his way at this point. Like,
nah, he's
like,
still
what are we
hurt.
doing? Like, I don't know. But
I know Dez Bryant was actually lobbying for the Cowboys to make that trade.
That'd be sick.
I didn't see that, but it just makes sense because they don't have they're so used to going. They don't have their Schultz anymore, and Ferguson ain't it, and they target him as if he is. If they got a Pitts type or anyone that's worth their salt at that position, that would help them out quite a bit as far as that offense is concerned.
Yeah, Cowboys are a good play. If I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, this could be my Kelsey replacement. So,
how much more time you think Kelsey got?
2 years.
2. Okay. He's like what 36, 37? I mean, he kind of up there. Ain't
he? He's like 33, 34.
33. Okay. I'm putting him a little bit too far up there. Okay.
And last but not least, flex question. We got George Pickens or Najee Harris.
Give me Pickens. If Allen Robinson, because I know he's questionable right now, he's not good to go. We already saw what he just did 2 games ago. I think he's gonna go off.
I'm gonna take the guy that can make your fantasy week in one play. Give me Pickens.
So that concludes our rapid fire 10.
Rapid fire 10. All right, good people. Let's get into these matchups. We'll go one by one. We'll all take a turn and see what we have here. Vander, you start us out. We got Thursday night, Dallas going against Green Bay. This is a 46-point over-under, and there's only a 1.5-point spread with Green Bay getting the 1.5.
Hold on.
What do you like in this one?
Dallas and Green Bay.
Excuse me, Detroit. My bad.
I was about to say,
Detroit versus Green Bay.
Hell is he talking about? This is a divisional game, right? So this game's probably going to be kind of sluggish. It's a short week.
You still there? I think you just got. Joe, go ahead and take over that one. Van will be back in a second. I think his internet.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he's about to say like this is gonna be a game on a short week on a Thursday, a divisional matchup. Oh, here we go.
Right. So
Man.
I'm not in love with anyone, to be honest with you. I do like Laporta, I
Okay.
would say. He's playing well. It's good to see him, catch it early, because this position is usually one of the hardest ones to translate to the NFL. So it feels good to see him. I think he's leading the league in receiving yards for tight ends. I'm not sure, but I want to say he's the leader. But I do like Laporta in this matchup as far as a fantasy implication. But of course, I mean, if you got Armand, the guys, you got to play them. But I like Sam Laporta.
I'll tell you this much about this matchup. If you're a betting person, Thursday night's game notoriously go under, and it's a divisional game.
Man.
I'm taking the under on this one. And kind of go from there. Next up, we got the Falcons versus the Jaguars. This is a 43.5 point over under, and Atlanta is getting the 3 points. What you got, Joe?
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting game. I kind of looked into it a little bit, ironically. Jaguars need this game. This is a home game that's not at home, but they need for it to win. But I don't know how to really look at them. So I'm gonna go first with Atlanta. Atlanta's another team that's looking to kind of stay 2-1. They all three of them tied in their division. They need to start separating themselves and starting to get some wins in their column, even if it's an away game, because that's going to come down to probably a two-teamer in that division. I think Bijan get a good chance to get a good run. Devin Lloyd's not going to play this week. They already got him as out, and I think that's a one of those pieces that you really need in the offense to kind of maintain and keep him under wraps. So definitely like him. Other than that, I mean, it's hard to say. We love the names. We love London. We love Pitts, but I just can't. I can't put my hand on either one of them. But then with Jacksonville, I'm gonna go and say I think this is a good game for ETN. I think honestly, ETN was gonna have a really good game in this matchup. I'm hoping that I want to go with Kirk. I want to go with Ridley, but Lawrence is not doing Lawrence things like he did last year, and I just want to see it come together to get behind those wide receivers. We know the talent, but I'm just gonna go with both running backs, Etienne and Robinson.
We got Denver going up against Chicago. This is a 46 point over under, and Chicago's getting the 3 points. This is like the bad news Bears going up against the doubtful Denver. It's like whoever loses this game, somebody probably getting fired. Like, cause you can't, you can't not win this game for either team. So, I kind of feel like the competition is close because they're both so bad. So I think it'll look like a better game than what it actually is. But with the consensus being on the under at 71%, and also the consensus being on Denver, I can see Chicago and the over happening, and Vegas cleaning up. Steelers going up against the Texans. This is a 42.5 point over under. Houston's getting 3 points. What you like about this one, Vander?
No, I'm drinking the CJ Stroud juice. So I do like him along with Tank Dell. I'm high on Tank Dell. We was high on him, going into this season.
Right.
Tank Dell was one of the guys that Stroud actually asked for, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a telltale sign there. This matchup is supposed to be run friendly, but the way the Steelers been playing, they are pretty much split now. So Warren is just creeping up, and after this game, we probably could start to see that thing teeter the other way around. To be honest with you, I'm not a real big fan of Pickens, kind of like I am of Pitts. Right? The talent is there, but the quarterback play is horrible. We've seen him have two pretty good games the last 2 weeks, but it's been like one play. So he's been getting like
Right.
10 targets, maybe 4 catches, but on that one catch, he'll have a 60-yard run or something like that. So he's have the explosive play, but without that, he's really not having a really good game. So kind of temper your expectations on a guy like George Pickens going into this game. This is another one of those games that's probably going to be a defensive game. To be honest
Just
with
to
you.
piggyback off of what you just said, this past week, Harris had 50% of the snaps. Warren was at 45%, and then Olesen was at 2%. The other 3%, they didn't have a running back on the field. So they're neck and neck as far as snaps are concerned. And Najee Harris don't have but one more week to be ordinary before he. I mean, like you can literally see him being ordinary on the like. He's lost a step. I think that plantar fasciitis is still messing with him or something. But this is again why I don't really put a whole lot of stock in running backs in dynasty. Just go with the hot hand, and I mean 9 times out of 10 you'll be able to get a starter who's somebody else's backup at the time if you just wait a little bit. And,
Looking like
kind of
Trent
go from there.
Richardson 2.0.
I don't think he that bad. I mean, he was all right until he
No,
got
he's
injured.
I like him still, but he's getting close. Like you say, he got a couple weeks.
Yeah, he'll, and then I believe he's coming up on year 4, so they'll have to decide whether or not they're going to take his 5th-year option. I don't think they do. You got the Bucks going up against the Saints. This is a 40.5 point over under. Tampa Bay is getting the 3 points. What you like, what you don't like, Joe?
Oh, we already know Lattimore versus Evans. Who gets ejected? Do they get ejected? We got to ask that question every time they meet.
Every time.
Shit. God,
They
I
hate
think this
each
is
other
gonna be
for real.
it's gonna be a pretty interesting game, man. Baker Mayfield, I'm not buying it yet, but he's playing pretty efficient within this system. I really obviously gotta go with Mike Evans. It seems as though he like a big receiver. Like let me oop it all day. I really think that honestly, you got to go with the guys. I think this is one of the matchups. Aside from Rashad White, I like him, but I don't think that the offensive line is there for him to really be proficient. But again, I will just go with the wide receivers. Uh, Odin, Cade, I don't know. But I just like the outside receivers for the Buccaneers. Going over to New Orleans, it's Michael Thomas, and it's only because of the quarterback. When I looked at it, I noticed after Carr went out in the third quarter, Watson, not Watson, shit, Mike, my bad. Oh, Mike Thomas, there we go. Mike Thomas had 7 targets, 6 receptions, and 48 yards. That's him taking over in the third quarter. He gonna target Michael first. He even did that to A.T. Perry. If you looked into the preseason, game 2, 6 receptions, 70 yards when he played a bulk of that game. He just he liked the bigger receivers. I think that he had LASIK or something. And it's like maybe just he identifies with a larger target. I don't know. But I think Michael Thomas come first in that order. But still, you got to go with Olave. Juwan Johnson, that was somebody else he favored. I think he had 3 targets in the third quarter, caught one of them. And then Kamara. I think it's going to be a good game. I think defensively, we already know what's going to happen at that point with New Orleans at home. Third, fourth quarter is going to be tucked away.
You got the Bengals going up against the Titans. This is a 41 point over under, and the Titans are getting 2.5 points. The issue that I see with this game is the Titans don't let anybody run against them. And Burrow, if he doesn't look quite a bit better than what he looked last week, and all you can do is throw the ball. I mean, I guess they can win by field goals again, but that's really all they can attempt to do because he can't get any zip on the ball. So when they're anywhere on the other side of the field within scoring range, it becomes a lot more difficult to throw because you can't float it out there. So this game, I don't know that I trust Burrow just yet. And with 88% of the public being on Cincinnati, I can see this being one of those get right games for Vegas where Tennessee comes out of nowhere and actually wins this game because they shut down the run. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. But I think Chase will still have a good game because for whatever reason, Higgins his head is not in the game. I don't know what the heck is going on with Higgins, but the ball literally hit him in the hands and the chest like 3 times, and he dropped it. And so I don't know if this is a money thing and his heart's not in it or what, but he don't look like the Higgins of old. But that's what I got on that matchup. Dolphins and Bills. This is a 54-point over-under. I want to say this is the highest over-under of the week, and Miami's getting 2.5 points. I put my bet on Miami when they were getting 3.5 points on Monday. So I'm definitely feeling that. What you got on this, Van?
Play everybody. As
On
far
both
as
sides.
yeah, the skill guys, I mean, you got to play everybody. I mean, Diggs, the whole nine. This may be one of those high scoring games because this isn't the Bills defense of old. The one we've been used to the last several years. So I think Mostert and even the new Achane will be able to run on this team. But of course, Tyreek Waddle's coming back. Fire him up. Just play everybody.
Wait. Who?
Waddle.
Waddle.
Oh, okay. Because I could have swore you said Tyreek.
Well, I said Waddle's coming back.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, basically, I'm just saying, just play everybody. All the skill guys, all the Dolphins.
Same thing with the Bills. Play all. How you feel about that backfield?
This would be the Cook hasn't scored a touchdown yet. He should score one this game.
Okay.
So I love James in this matchup because the Dolphins are not that good at stopping the run. Yeah, just play everybody. I mean,
you got
that's the only way you can pretty much write it up.
Vikings going up against the Panthers. This is a 45.5-point over under. Carolina's getting 4 points, and it looks like Young is going to be the guy under center this coming week. What you got on this matchup, Joe?
Oh man, let's start with the Vikings. I think what the Vikings are like, two? I forget what their record is, but you can't tell how bad that defense is. The defense is horrendous. We were just
haven't they lost like I want to say. Go ahead. I'll let you know about before you get.
Oh yeah, that defense is horrendous in Minnesota. Horrendous. With that being said, we're gonna go to Thielen. I think, and we just said earlier in the last segment, Thielen, he just rewind. He just did some Doctor Strange and just turned the time back, and he's looking rejuvenated these last 2 weeks. He's clearly been super targeted, and he's like I said, scored a touchdown in the last 2 games. This last out against Seattle was crazy. 147 yards, 11 receptions. I don't think he's in the same ballpark, but we already know he's gonna be in the red zone. We already know he's gonna get that tutty next week. Outside that, we don't know who to trust, but I would be comfortable going with Miles Sanders again. This defense is so. I think we gotta this defense next year when they're able to bring some of his guys, and they did begin to start making cap space. It'll be good next year, but where it stands today, we got to take advantage of these matchups. I think it's a good opportunity to start Miles. You can start him comfortably. On the other side of it, we already know start everybody. I think honestly, it's enough to go around in that matchup that you can go Osborne safely and you can go Addison. But we already know what Hockenson and Jefferson are going to do next week or this week.
Looks like the Vikings are 1-2.
I got a question because Minnesota can't stop the pass at all. A lot of wide receivers are getting off. But if Bryce Young is the quarterback, who does that really fare? We seen Dalton. We see him have an okay game with Young, but Dalton really peppered him with targets last week. He had like 14 or something like that. So,
but right. But I agree with you too, man. What I noticed too with Bryce though, he had 3 of them receptions in the first quarter when he played with Bryce. Like I said, I love the ceiling with Dalton. I think as far as DFS though, we can use it from that standpoint. Thielen is a nice, easy grab for somebody that's going to do DraftKings. Of course, I love how they kind of give out how much they cost. But like you said, it is a difference between a Dalton and a Young. But I think they both measure the same because they both look at on the same end in the red zone.
The Ravens going up against the Browns. This is a 40.5-point over under. Baltimore is actually getting the money here, which kind of makes sense. The divisional matchup, and Cleveland is at home. Again, Vegas is saying this is going to be a lower scoring game. I've noticed that within this particular division, specifically, they tend to kind of, battle and go back and forth between the 20s, and the benefactors are normally the field goal kickers. I don't really see anybody getting off in this game. I would temper my expectation on Zay Flowers. They started out peppering him with targets, and now maybe it's because Andrews is back, but he's just not getting quite as many targets as what he was getting before. So I don't think that this is the game that's going to be his get right game, if that makes sense. Baltimore's backfield, flip a coin. Might be Melvin Gordon, might be Gus. One of them will get a touchdown. I don't know who. Actually, they might not get a touchdown because it might end up being Lamar running it in. On Cleveland side, Cooper's going to do his thing. I do have confidence in Cooper. Outside of that, it's a coin flip. We'll probably end up seeing Hunt, so we don't know exactly how much Ford is going to be affected by Hunt being in there, how much of a split that's going to be, although they say that Ford is still going to be the starter. So as far as this matchup is concerned, other than Cooper, I would attempt to avoid, but obviously if you have Deshaun and Lamar, you kind of got to do what you got to do, especially if you're in a super flex or a 2 QB league. Rams versus Colts. This is a 47-point over-under. Only a 1-point spread with the Rams getting that 1 point. What you got on this one, man?
Let's go back to Puka. Let's go back to that. Well, he didn't do much this past week, but against his Colts defense, I think he'll fare well. You got to play Zach Moss. I mean, he's getting like 100% of the touches in the backfield.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
literally.
30 last week. So you definitely fire up him. Anthony Richardson, man, we was about to see an explosion before he got injured. I think the dude had like 17 fantasy points in the first quarter or something crazy.
Facts.
Before that concussion. So I think you should go back to him. He should play this game as well. On the other end, quarterback Stafford. Yeah, I guess he's getting to Puka. Not really Kyron Williams. He's another guy that's getting all the touches in the backfield. But let's see if he can do something against his Colts run team. But I do like
their run defense isn't all that good, is it? That I can recall. The Colts.
I think the pass is worse though.
Okay, gotcha.
You still have a couple Pro Bowl linebackers out there on the Colts team, right? Still got Leonard, and you still got 44. What's my man name? 44.
I forget. He don't get no fantasy points, so I don't pay that much attention.
But yeah, but in this game, I love Puka and Zach Moss as well, due to the volume.
You got the Commanders going up against the Eagles. This is a 43.5-point over-under. And Washington is getting 8 points. So Vegas is looking at this one as a good old-fashioned butt cutting. What you got on this one, Joe?
Yeah. We ain't talking about the Redskins. Ain't nothing noteworthy. It's kind of crazy. Jahan has been minimized. With McLaurin, I don't know. They, preseason they look real sharp. Regular season, they not right. We're gonna fade them, honestly. I want to be able to say I can like somebody, but the defense is so much better now. You see with Blankenship, and now they also got back Bradbury back to being a nickel. We saw a night and day difference from the yards they gave up the game before. So let's fire up everybody on the Eagles. It's impressive. Swift, man, what the fudge? This a motherfucker. This another little Doctor Strange motherfucker that just rewind this and this dude. But also,
he does his thing, though. He does his thing. He's another one of those guys. As long as he's not hurt, he's good.
Eagles be giving him like a whole. It's the Red Sea, and when they be run blocking. So, but he is so super efficient. He's getting it done. I love it. And it's like with the wide receivers, even though I said start everybody, in the last 3 weeks, Goddard got his receptions that he wasn't getting the week before. AJ just got his receptions. Is it a carousel? Is it going to go to Devontae? Because now Devontae only had 3 targets or 5. However many targets
your boy,
the entire game.
Zacchaeus, I think he used to be with Atlanta. or somewhere. But he got a few targets, and I think he
Yeah,
got
he
a
caught that
touchdown.
touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Because
mean,
Quez
spreading the love.
Watkins is out. Yeah, Quez Watkins is
Yep.
out, so now he's
That's exactly
in
who role he took over. You right? That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's just so hard to tell, like with the carousel of receivers, but you got to start everybody. We know the big play upside of all the receivers. But I just wanted to point that out. Every week, somebody didn't get the receptions, they got the receptions the next week.
The Raiders are going up against the Chargers. This is a 48.5 point over under, and Las Vegas is getting 5.5 points. What do you like on this one?
I love Devontae Adams in this game. We see what he's doing. But let's see who the quarterback is, right? Let's see if it's going to be Hoyer or Garoppolo.
Does it matter? Does it matter as far as Adams is concerned?
You know what? I think Jimmy has bought into this new car.
Okay.
He came out and said, "Yo, he never seen somebody like this before, where you just like, man, just throw it. You know what I mean? He hasn't had that type of receiver, and I guess now he's learning. Like, hey, you might want to throw it over here because he really targeted this guy last week, and Adams delivered. You know what I mean? And this Chargers secondary is horrendous. You already see they are losing J.C. Jackson. He's not even on the team.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
That's already another guy that's a healthy scratch. But Devontae should do absolute numbers this game.
He had 20 targets last week. The next closest person was Jacoby Myers with 12.
Which is still good.
I don't think Hunter Renfrow is playing football anymore. So
no. He probably get moved. He probably get moved before the trade deadline, to be honest with you. Because this is
he's got skills. But
yeah, he probably get moved up. Let's see Josh Jacobs, man. I'm not really. Maybe he turned back into the pumpkin. He hasn't really done anything since coming back out. He should have knocked that rust off by now, but he has yet to score a touchdown as well. One of those running backs in the league.
He's showing exactly why they didn't want to give him a long-term contract and why nobody else is going to give him a long-term contract either after what he's doing. But he still has time to turn it around. But
on the other side, we talking about target hogs. I mean, Keenan Allen. We seen the game.
Yeah, facts.
He had like 20 targets as well.
He had exactly 20 targets. You're spot on.
So with the injury to Mike Williams, I could see him definitely stepping up again, having another one of those games. It's a different offense. I think we got accustomed to the Chargers of old, and now with this guy, he's playing different spots now.
Right.
Kind of like, it's kind of more to his skill set. So Keenan Allen is back into the wide receiver one category now.
Until he get hurt.
Yeah, let me add something to that, if you don't mind. Yeah, just quickly, because I think honestly, in fantasy, we need to get Allen right now. Last year under Lombardi, he played 58% in the slot. He was stuck there. He even said it himself. This year they're using him like CeeDee Lamb. We was wondering what they're going to do after Amari Cooper. Kellen Moore he had the blueprint, had a 1,300-yard season, 11 touchdowns. We just seen Keenan Allen put in the same role. He's the new de facto number one receiver to Vander's point. I want to get this guy down because who else you gonna get the ball to? 20 targets, 18 receptions, over 210 yards. Excuse me, 210 yards receiving last week.
But like we speak on earlier shows, people like that's why it's always key to know who are the OCs going to these teams, because it's going to pretty much draw the picture out for you. The last couple of years, we were big on Mike Williams due to Lombardi, but now he's gone. And now Keenan Allen is back in the driver's seat. So they already switched roles. And now I wish I would have got in on some Keenan Allen stock during the draft because, man, he's out there. He's doing big work.
And he didn't cost you that much during draft season either. Now he's going to cost you
you can't get
should have cost you. I mean, basically. You got the Cardinals going up against the 49ers. This is a 44-point over-under. And Arizona is getting 14 points. I know what Arizona did against Dallas. This is a different beast. Please don't start anybody on Arizona, like at all. Start everybody on San Fran. That's pretty much all I got. Moving right along. You got the Patriots going up against the Cowboys. This is a 43-point over-under. New England is getting 7 points. Does Dallas go back to being the defense that they were week before last? Or does New England kind of duplicate the same type of style that Arizona had to kind of, show up there? What we got on this matchup?
Well, I want to speak on New England first. I think you made a good point. New England, they bend but don't break. It ain't gonna look good. It's gonna look like they moving forward, but then it's either a punt or a field goal at the end of the day. I think this is gonna be, even without Jones, I think Jones might not play this week. I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I still think, as far as offensively, that's the real testament. What Cowboys are we gonna see? Because they look good for 1.5 games, but these last two, it's not looking too good, man. Michael Parsons on the floor wailing more than he being productive. He's still disruptive, but I don't know what's going on. I think you lose Diggs. That's where I think that's the chess piece right there was Diggs. But looking at the offense, I think Ramondre's still good. I think obviously you got to look into the tight ends. Not as far as start, but look at DFS wise. I think looking at Gesicki and Henry is a good way to be different. They got to be even more creative with the lack of DeAndre. Like, just, most people, he plays in phase a lot, so he's allowed to make a play on the ball. He's allowed to be able to really play into that cover three and really be able to move in this offense. I mean, that defense, that's a big part of, having that level of stability on one side of the field. So it's like, I'm not getting there with Kendrick Bourne, but what I am saying is that those deficiencies might lead over to a different position group like the tight end. So I think you could look into, if you like a Henry guy, I would probably start Henry this week. DFS wise, you could go with Gesicki. I like Ramondre. I like Bourne, but again, we just don't know what receiver is going to do what. Is it Juju? Is it Bourne? But on the other side of it,
You got Devontae Parker too. He actually led
Devontae, man, he's still
targets,
making
if
those
I'm not
spectacular
mistaken.
damn catches, man. I think you
I
still
want
got
to
to
say
go
he led in
CD.
targets. Let me make sure.
Yeah, and I
No,
think
Kendrick Bourne actually had 5 targets. Hunter Henry had 5 targets. Devontae had 3, and Stevenson had 3 this past week.
wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think on offense, as far as the Cowboys, damn, I mean, this is this is Bill, and I think what Arizona did, because Josh Gannon, I think that's the other part. Josh Gannon played all of them fairly. He already knew them from last year to play them as well as they did this year. Um, I think with Bill though, Bill's gonna look at what they did, no successes. I still trust Lamb though. It seems like Lamb, he's still getting double-digit targets, regardless of what's going on. I
I'm gonna
still
tell you
like
what though,
Pollard.
that boy Gonzalez,
Gonzalez is real.
Gonzalez
He's
is
real.
the truth, man. Like
He's real.
Gonzalez is the truth. And I was mad when we went with a cornerback in the first round instead of getting a wide receiver. But the change we need to make with the Patriots, let Bill do all the defensive drafting. Let him draft the offensive line. Let somebody else do the skill positions because he never.
Y'all got Strange, and Strange is a B. He good.
Yeah, that's what. Let him do the defense and the O line, but the skill positions. When was the last skill position person that they actually got right? Like, what was the last running back or like wide receiver that was just like spot on? Like, yeah, you did that. Like, I
agree. I definitely agree. I think Pollard and Lamb is still solid. Gallup looked good too, man. I think if Gonzalez going to do what he did, because he has been playing relatively well, you can look at Gallup, because Gallup looked like he's 100%. He looked darn good last week. So those would be my looks. Now, I honestly think, if they can get Cooks, that's even more. But I just don't trust Dak enough. Like, that's the one inconsistent piece.
Cook's supposed to play this week.
Yeah, I think Dak is that one inconsistent piece. That's why I left him out, is that he's been playing good, but it's not the 3-4 touchdown Dak that we done seen in years past. And especially going against New England. That's one thing they're going to do. They're going to limit those touchdowns coming from Dak.
Facts. You got the Chiefs going up against the Jets. This is a 42.5 point over under. The Jets are getting 9.5 points, which I think they need like 9.5 more. But what you got on this one, man?
Don't play no Jets.
Facts. Facts.
What more can I say? With Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, guys like that. Patrick Mahomes he's not the quarterback. Those guys don't really affect him because he's not a guy
Nope.
that really. The only person get key on is Travis Kelce.
And that still don't matter. Because he gonna
right.
get his.
So at this point, I mean, it don't matter if it's MVS, Kyle Moore, Tony, Rice, Watson. Hell, who knows going to be the guy? But
do you have an idea of who might? So you saying it's a coin flip basically?
Travis Kelce and
wide receiver.
Travis Kelce and probably McKinnon. To be honest with you, probably a guy
Okay.
That'll do work. I mean, again, like he's Sauce Gardner is not these. I don't think they're gonna do any moving. They go stay in their one spot, but he'll kill you all over the place. I mean, again, Patrick Mahomes is kind of like matchup proof. If that makes sense. I mean, he's not gonna
throw
kill
to the open guy. Like whoever your weakest corner is, that's who getting love all night from the wide receiver side. So yeah,
I definitely I said this like I said most weeks. The only Kansas City Chiefs you should be playing is Mahomes and Kelce. No one else. Because no one else is consistent. Those are the only two consistent guys on this team. Don't play anybody off the Jets in this game. This game should get away from them because this Kansas City defense is actually better than most people
top
think.
10.
Yeah, it's pretty good defense. So
last matchup, we have Seattle going up against the Giants. This is actually only a 1-point spread with Seattle getting that 1 point, a 47.5 point over under. Now, the same way that Thursday night games are notoriously, they notoriously go under, Monday night games tend to go over. I know this past week it didn't quite go that way, but Monday night games tend to go over. And Joe, why don't you go ahead and round out the show talking about your boys here?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about my boys, right? I was gonna rant that much, pull it back because I was gonna talk about Jamal Adams, wasted $72 million. But let's talk about this matchup. I think honestly, I just have all expectations really on Waller, Slayton, and I want to Slade and Waller. We're gonna keep it like that. I just feel like those are the two. But I always notice even this season, Slade has had 5 targets, 3 receptions every game. It's just a healthy floor. We just know that's a healthy floor. We know Waller's just gonna be that guy that's gonna be force fed in this offense. On the other side, man, Metcalf is still doing it, man. You got to fire up everybody. I think with JSN, I think people that own JSN hold on to him. It wasn't going to be this easy. As far as him being like put into the offense, it has nothing to do with him as a player, more so the schematically how it's looking right now. But anything befalls Lockett or Metcalf, we seeing 1,000-yard receiver just as fast. Kenneth Walker, damn. To thought Charbonnet was going to play any part. This man is getting a bulk of the carries, and he also is the guy in the red zone. And that's 2 things I wouldn't have thought to have known coming to the season. He'd be doing great in both. And the yards after contact is amazing. We talking about the Giants. I mean, I like the names on the defense, but you take the names out of it, is Kenny gonna get what he wants? I think honestly, he's always liable, like we always say, to take it to the house. He's a great player. I think you can get to him. I think he's gonna be in everybody's lineup come Monday. We already know the Monday slate. He's gonna be the guy, the multiplier on as far as if you do any DraftKings. Tight end, we mix it up so good. But if you need one, I would go with Parks. No, I'm just cutting his name short. And tight end, he seems to be the most consistent in getting those targets and receptions. But it's Kenny's gonna do good, I think, on Monday.
And that about wraps it up. Just got an alert saying that Austin Eckler said that the issue with his ankle right now is turning and making cuts, and he can run full speed, but he can't cut. So he isn't sure about Sunday's game. So that came right from the horse's mouth. If you're saying that you can't cut, you can't get out there. So I mean, maybe another week or so as far as Eckler is concerned. So temper your expectations there and make the pivots that are necessary. Other than that, that pretty much wraps it up for the week. We out.